you talked about Danny being, a big addition to the band, and I agree with that. So, is the story that when he joined, he was in a room and you just walked in and said, "Are you going to join the band or what?" That's what he told me.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true because it didn't happen to me, and I was kind of lost for a long time. What happened was that I got invited to fly to Tenerife to meet Vikey, and we would just hang out. We would hang out for a couple of weeks, and we didn't even play guitar together. It was just like to get to learn to get to know each other more, and see if we get along. And then we recorded that album, and everything happened so quickly. And nobody came and was actually asking, "Hey, do you want to join the band as a permanent member?" I kind of realized that when we had a video shoot for Just a Little Sign. I was like, okay, I guess I'm in the band, So, but to this day, nobody has asked me if you want to join the band,
Yeah.
So, and when Danny came, I wanted to spare that from him because it felt really odd for me, and I was kind of lost because I didn't know what's gonna happen. So now we recorded the album. Where am I at with these guys? So I went into the studio when he was there, and because we have spoken as a band about it, and we were like, okay, he's so good and he's a nice guy. He should join a band. I was like, okay, but nobody's gonna ask him. I will do that, because nobody would have asked him. It would have just happened again, And then I went into saying, okay, now I want to know, do you want to join the band? Because we want you to join the band, and so he found it pretty funny that.
Yeah. Yeah. I never knew. So I never knew actually what happened with that. All I remember back then, it was actually the last press release I ever wrote. Yeah, we have a new drummer. This is his name. This is the band he played in. I'm like, okay. And that was it. And I never knew the story of how he joined. I remember you getting a phone call from Wikey when he, and you were kind of in the middle, and it was kind of unexpected. But but the Danny thing was funny.
It was expected. That's the funny thing. It was expected because Charlie told me that Wikey will call me, but he told me he will call you in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
And then he called me 30 minutes after I hung up with Charlie, and I was like in a rush. There was a girl I wanted to date at that on the day. I was like really busy, like in getting into the shower and stuff, And there's another thing. It's just a nice story. Yeah. I told Vikey just out of emotion, just let me know what you want, because I'm busy. I'm in a hurry. I have to leave. And later on, like a couple of years later, he told me that he was really impressed by that, because he would like. That's the situation I told you before, because he was kind of receiving all these like demo tapes of guitar players who wanted to be the new guitar player. And I didn't even know that Helloween was searching for a new guitar player. And then he calls me and I tell him, "Hey, tell me what you want. I'm in a hurry, So he found that pretty impressive that he didn't hear me play. He calls me up and I'm like, let's talk another time, So
yeah, so I'll tell you a funny story about that. I remember back then them talking about, there were some names thrown out there. I'm not going to go into that, but I just remember talking to him and he goes, I think I found the person, and he didn't tell me who it was. And it might have been right before he called you. I could be wrong. I think we were talking on Messenger or something like that way, so many years ago. And then he called me. He goes, I think I found our guitar player. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was so weird. The whole time was so weird. Even what I got to know later on was that the press already, the metal press was already suggesting that I could be the new guitar player even before Vikey knew it and I knew it. Even like they were like guess working who could be the guy. So of course they knew that I'm free, kind of. I'm not in Freedom Call anymore. So they were kind of guessing who could be the new guitarist, who could be a fit for the band, And so I later on somebody showed me like magazines where there was a picture of me. Could this be the new guitar player of Helloween? Yeah. And it was a time where even Vicky and I didn't know that we would speak about it, So
yeah. That's yeah. It was pretty crazy the way a lot of that stuff went down back then. I just think I remember when you joined. I remember he was pretty excited about that because I remember you guys going and doing some promotion stuff in Japan back then. Actually, I found photos of that, and you guys doing a lot of press in Japan together. But I felt just the way when he spoke to me about it, I felt like, something about this guy Sascha, and I had no idea who you were at the time, that well, and it just something felt like there was like an excitement in his voice about it. And I just remember I'm like, okay, this guy's probably going to work out pretty well. And I knew Freedom Call, but I didn't really know much about you. And then here comes the Rabbit Don't Come Easy album. And there's these 2 songs on there. And I'm like, man, this dude could write some tracks. Right. And kind of went from there. And so it's interesting and funny to look back at that 20 some years later. And then
absolutely
30 songs
by
later.
The way, yeah, and by the way, we're Mikey and I were still talking about this Japanese promotion tour because we have been so hilarious on this tour that they didn't want us to have for the next promotion run anymore because we were so funny and silly all the time. It's all about connection. We had like instant connection, him and I, like on the humor side, which is, I always say, humor is the glue for relationships. If you humor can be really sticky even in bad situations. You can, if you stick to that, it's just very important to have fun together, and we had that from the beginning, and we have to till now. I mean, he's the guy I have the most I think contact with in the band. Even when we're not on tour or we're not doing an album, we're always in touch. It's a very strong bond from the beginning, and maybe that's where the excitement came from. And then musical wise, same thing. We kind of share some of the same roots, and I also have that with Kai. There are a lot of dots that just connect and work musical wise, and that's what makes a band working.
Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.